Have you ever wondered what happens when the smallest person in the room faces the biggest trouble? Today we journey deep into the misty mountains of Appalachia, where ancient stories echo through the valleys like morning fog. We're about to meet Jack, a young mountain boy who proves that a sharp mind beats strong muscles every single time. This tale comes from the heart of Beech Mountain, North Carolina, passed down through generations of storytellers who gathered around crackling fires on cold mountain nights. Jack isn't your typical hero. He's clever, sometimes mischievous, and always ready with a plan when danger comes knocking. Can Jack outsmart the fearsome varmints that terrorize his mountain home? Will his quick thinking be enough when size and strength seem to rule the day? Let's discover together what happens when wit meets wilderness in the beautiful, mysterious mountains of Appalachia. High up in the Appalachian Mountains, where the morning mist dances between towering oak trees and the air smells of pine and wild honeysuckle, lived a young man named Jack. Every sunrise found him whistling as he chopped kindling, his axe ringing out across the peaceful valley like a mountain bell. Jack wasn't the biggest fellow you'd ever meet. In fact, most folks towered over him. But his eyes sparkled with the kind of intelligence that could solve any puzzle. Each evening, Jack would sit on his cabin porch, whittling and listening to the symphony of crickets and owls that filled the mountain air. He lived simply, growing vegetables in his small garden and trading his woodwork in the village below. Life was good, peaceful, and predictable. But lately, something had been troubling the mountain folk. Strange sounds echoed through the forests at night, crashes, roars, and the kind of ruckus that made even the bravest souls lock their doors tight. The varmints were coming, and everyone knew that when varmints arrived, trouble followed close behind. One crisp autumn morning, Jack discovered his vegetable garden completely destroyed. Enormous footprints, bigger than dinner plates, were pressed deep into the soft earth. His prize pumpkins lay smashed, his corn stalks were snapped like twigs, and his beloved tomatoes were nothing but red pulp scattered across the ground. Jack knelt down, running his fingers along the massive prints, feeling the anger rise in his chest like steam from a kettle. "Well, I'll be," he muttered, his voice tight with frustration. "Looks like I've got myself some uninvited guests." The destruction wasn't random, it was deliberate, almost mocking. Whatever had done this wanted Jack to know they could take. Through his window, he glimpsed enormous shadows moving between the trees, creatures as tall as his roof, with arms like tree trunks and voices that rumbled like distant thunder. They weren't just any varmints, they were mountain giants, known for their terrible tempers and their habit of terrorizing anyone who dared live in their territory. Jack tried barricading his door, but the giants simply laughed, their booming voices shaking the very walls of his home. They circled his cabin like wolves, calling out taunts and threats. "Come out, little man, we've got plans for you." One giant's voice was so deep it seemed to come from the earth itself. Jack realized with a sinking heart that hiding wasn't going to work. As dawn broke over the mountain peaks, Jack made his choice. He couldn't run. These giants would only follow him and terrorize other innocent folk. He couldn't fight them with his fists. They were 10 times his size and strength. But Jack had something the giants didn't, a mind as sharp as his whittling knife, and a plan forming like morning mist. He stepped out onto his porch, his heart hammering against his ribs, but his voice steady as mountain stone. "All right, you varmints," he called out, his words carrying across the valley. "You want a challenge? I'll give you one you'll never forget." That's when Jack realized the giants' greatest weakness wasn't their size, it was their pride. The three giants stood before Jack's cabin like living mountains, their massive forms blocking out the morning sun. The leader, a creature with arms like oak trees and a voice like rolling boulders, stepped forward with a grin that revealed teeth the size of fence posts. "You think you can challenge us, little bug?" the giant roared, his laughter shaking the leaves from nearby trees. "We'll squash you like a grape." Jack's hands trembled, but his voice remained steady. "I challenge you to a contest of strength," he announced, his mind racing through his plan. "But not the kind you're thinking. Real strength isn't about muscles. It's about control. I bet I can do something none of you giants can manage." The giants exchanged glances and burst into thunderous laughter. "Name it, little man." Jack picked up a smooth river stone from his porch. "I can squeeze water from this stone," he declared, holding it high. "Can you?" The giants' laughter died as confusion crossed their massive faces. The leader snatched the stone from Jack's hand. "Impossible!" the leader roared. "No one can squeeze water from a stone." "Watch and learn," Jack said with a sly smile. He reached into his pocket and pulled out what looked like the same stone, but was actually a piece of soft, white cheese he'd been saving for breakfast. Jack squeezed the cheese firmly, and to the giant's amazement, clear liquid dripped from between his fingers. "Mountain magic," he said with a wink, "takes a special kind of strength." The giants stared in wonder and growing fear. If this small human could do something they couldn't, what other powers might he possess? Their confidence crumbled like autumn leaves, and for the first time in their lives, they felt small. We didn't know you were a powerful wizard," the leader stammered, his voice now barely above a whisper. "We'll leave your mountain in peace. Please don't use your magic against us." As quickly as they had arrived, the three giants disappeared into the forest, their heavy footsteps fading into the distance. Jack sat down on his porch steps, his heart finally slowing to its normal rhythm. The morning sun felt warm on his face, and the mountain air had never tasted sweeter. He looked at the remaining piece of cheese in his hand and chuckled. "Sometimes the best weapon is the one nobody expects," he said to a curious squirrel that had ventured close to his porch. From that day forward, Jack's garden grew in peace, and the mountain folk could sleep soundly knowing that sometimes the smallest person among them was also the wisest. The giants never returned, and whenever young folks in the valley heard strange sounds in the forest, they remembered Jack's story and smiled. Jack continued his simple life, whistling while he worked and whittling on his porch each evening. But now he always kept a piece of cheese in his pocket, just in case. After all, you never know when you might need to squeeze water from a stone. The greatest strength isn't always in your muscles. Sometimes it's in your mind, waiting for the perfect moment to shine. Jack's story teaches us that intelligence and creativity can overcome any challenge, no matter how impossible it seems. We all have moments when we feel small or powerless. But like Jack, we each carry our own special kind of strength. Next time you face a problem that seems too big to handle, remember Jack's clever solution and ask yourself, what do I know that others don't? You have the same quick thinking and resourcefulness inside you. Sometimes the most powerful tool isn't what you can lift, but what you can imagine. Tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were Jack facing those giants? Share this story with someone who needs to remember their own inner strength. Don't forget to like and follow our channel. We upload one magical story daily to help you learn English while discovering the wonder in every tale.